You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the longest-running Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
We're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking to my ball. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast. I am joined by a friend of the show, very special guest, Boy Green, New York Jets YouTuber, blogger, reporter for The Heavy. You can also hear him on YouTube on The Man-Child with Boy Green Digital Show. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at BoyGreen25. Paul, I'm going to call you Paul. How you doing?
That works. You know, not enough people call me Paul. So let's get back to that. I like that. That was on the birth certificate, so I'm glad we could dust that off and use it every once in a while. So God bless. Mike, it's great to be back, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we got a game this week between the Jets and the Dolphins. Both teams, pretty much the same record. One game here off, or two games off, I guess. Not too much of a difference. But both teams, I would say the past month, playing way better than they did back in September and October. Both teams on a little bit of an uptick here. So I figure there's a lot to talk about with both of our teams. I want to get your perspective, not just on your team, the Jets, but also Miami. So let's start with the Jets, though. Coming into this season, back in like the summer, July, August, heading into training camp and all that stuff, what was your expectations with the Jets this season? And even at 3 wins or so, have they surpassed them now?
So first off, to say that we're playing better now, Jets and Dolphins, versus the teams that were facing each other in week 4, I don't think it's saying much at all. But
no, it's not. It's a low bar.
Yeah, appreciate the compliment nonetheless for both of our teams. That's terrific. In terms of expectations, if we were being incredibly realistic, Justin Fields is on his 3rd team in 3 years. He was signed and immediately crowned as the guy. And it seemed like there was a very small percentage chance that Justin Fields, suddenly the light bulb would go off with the Jets. Here. Oh, yeah, now I'll learn how to play quarterback. So that seemed unlikely at the time, and that obviously proved to be true. In terms of, have they surpassed the expectations? In 3 wins, I don't think they have. I think, and it's tough because, it's not Aaron Glenn's fault that the Jets are about to miss the playoffs for the 15th year in a row. This is just his first year as the head coach here, and Jet fans are desperate for a winning season. They've only had one of those in the last 14 years, so that's been incredibly difficult for the Jets. But again, that blood from those seasons are not on the hands of AG. But I think what Jet fans wanted was competitiveness and floating somewhere around 500, like 8-9, 7, 6. So, being half of that total with 5 games to go, unless they're going to win them all out here, it seems unlikely they're going to reach it. So it is somewhat underwhelming from that perspective. But again, Justin Fields and your quarterback play overall has been terrible. Tyrod Taylor has been an upgrade over Justin Fields, but in the same way you just gave us that compliment about, things are better than they were week 4. Well, that's true, but not by much. Tyrod Taylor is better than Justin Fields, but not by much. So
it's still Tyrod Taylor at the end of the day. That's where
exactly. That's the point. Exactly.
Yeah. Aaron Glenn, first year as a head coach. I was a fan of the hire, even though I'm not a fan of the Jets. I was a fan of the hire. That's probably a smart hire for the Jets. I think he's a guy, maybe year 1's a little bit rocky, and it has been at times. I think all the rocky parts of year 1 are kind of self-inflicted, fighting with the media for no good reason, bringing stuff on himself that just he didn't need to do. As a Jets fan, someone who follows the team, what are your thoughts on Glenn's first year? Most of it's over. I don't think we'll see anything. I look at the Jets' last 5 games. They could probably win 2 of the 5, I think. They could win this week, obviously. They could beat the Saints. Those other 3, Jacksonville, Bills, and so who knows. But if he ends the year with 5 wins, what are your thoughts on his first season as a head coach? Are you a fan? Are you on board still? Or this got me a little nervous?
Like any coach that wins the press conference when they're introduced and he's like, we're the New York Jets. We're built for this shit. Jet fans like, yeah, we are, AG. And, it's a unique story, of course. AG was a former first-round pick of the Jets back in 1994, and he had been there for some crappy years. He was also there for the turnaround with Bill Parcells to go to the AFC Championship game in 98. So, there was that uptick of, this guy's been here. He knows what this is about. Robert Saleh, who's a previous coach before Aaron Glenn, is coming from the West Coast, a San Francisco team that's had all kinds of success. He's like, oh, don't worry, I'll fix it here. And then he was unable to. AG, being a former Jet and knowing what this market was and things, gave people a lot of optimism. He did, to your point earlier, did himself no favors with, being competitive with the media, seemingly for no reason. Like, it was
Rich Cimini's a Syracuse guy, like you and me. What are you fighting with Rich Cimini for?
I know. That's too bad. And it's extra funny because Rich has been covering the team forever. He covered AG when he was a player. So to go full circle, and this only makes Rich feel old every time I talk to him about it, but like to go full circle, and he's still covering the team, and now AG has gone through a full playing career, scouting career, coaching for 10 years, and then boom, he's now the head coach of the Jets, and Rich is still there. He's the constant, which is funny. So I think some of the fights are self-inflicted, but I go back to this original thought, and it is this. AG has never been a head coach before. 99% of the coaches that Woody Johnson has hired under his ownership since taking over 25 years ago have been first-year head coaches. The only one that is a retread, you guys know very, very well.
Adam Gase.
That is Adam Gase. So Adam Gase was the only retread that Woody Johnson's ever hired. He's also the only offensive coach that Woody Johnson's ever hired. Besides that, it's been all defense and first-year head coaches. So it's sort of been a wash, rinse, repeat cycle over and over and over again. And so AG's never done the job before, so I think he's learning on the job, like any other first-year head coach going through the process. I think the positive thing, if there is a positive to be drawn here for the Jets, is, of course, they're winning games more recently, 3 of 5. Okay, thank God. Blessed be he. That's good to see. And AG seems to be learning from his mistakes. I mean, he had some unbelievable hair-pulling mistakes of clock management, refusing to go for Hail Marys in back-to-back games at the end of a half where he had nothing to lose outside of a Hail Mary pick 6 that we had in that Black Friday game against you guys. So I love bringing that back up for no apparent reason. AG's learned from his mistakes, it seems like at this point. So there's some wins stacking up. So the era was super down on AG. A lot of fans thought he was going to be one and done. And then things have turned around where he's going to be back next year, and they're hopeful that he's the right guy to help turn this thing around.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about he might be a one and done because he was fighting with the media. Like you said, he made some crazy decisions at times in games, but that team hasn't quit on him. And even after the 2 trades, which people thought, they've pretty much waved the white flag. They haven't quit on him, which is a good sign. Like, I don't know if he can be a good head coach, but the fact that they're playing hard for him still is probably a positive to where you want to see what you got with him next year. Let's give him another draft. A lot of picks. Let's see what happens. So I'm with you there. I like to hire up front, and right now, as long as he don't do nothing dumb these last 5 or really say anything dumb, really, I think he'll be fine going in next year. Quarterback.
I agree, by the way. Just real quick, I agree on that. And again, you look at these group of games, it would have been very easy when the Jets trade away Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams for a bunch of future first-round picks and some middling players that have turned out very nicely, but it was all about the future. It would have been easy for the team to go, whoa, well, obviously this regime doesn't give a flying hoot about this year. Why should we? And roll over and give up on AG. That would have been very easy to do. They have not. They fought every week. 2 games that they were on the road and impossible situations, and Vegas point spreads were all over the place at New England, at Baltimore. The Jets performed very well. They were competitive in both of those games. So again, AG does deserve a massive tip of the cap for that and keeping his guys going. But yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So quarterback, I'm just going to jump off on a limb. Justin Fields won't be back next year. But I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. Just going to go out on a limb. Justin Fields won't be back. Do you think, now I know you don't know, this draft for quarterbacks has been reported, not great, but with the Jets having all those picks from those trades, if they want one, they can get one. If they want Fernando Mendoza, they can get Fernando Mendoza. If he comes out, they can get him if they want him, especially with the teams in front. If a team like the Titans finish one, they don't need a quarterback. They'll take your picks and slide down to pick whatever, 6, 7, wherever it ends up being, who knows. Do you think they will make a move at quarterback in this draft, or you think they'll sit tight? I know you don't know. Just what's your best thought here? Because honestly, I've seen the Mendoza kid. He looks pretty dang good. I think he might have to sit a year. But again, you're in no rush. You waited this long. What's a little bit longer? I think he's going to be really good. Like, those 2 guys can be really good. And if I'm the Jets, you have a chance. Why wait a year? Let's get them into the system now. Maybe they play, maybe they don't. But let's get them into the system and see. What are your thoughts on quarterback? What do you think they might do?
Yeah, to your point, I think they're set up well, that they're not forced. If the Jets didn't make some of the trades that they made, and they just had a lot of assets in this 2026 draft and not as much in 2027, they'd be like, it's do or die. we need you. Sometimes if you want something really bad, you can just sort of force it to happen, right? Like the Jets, if they needed to take a quarterback in this draft, I don't believe they have to. But if they felt like they needed to because they didn't have future assets, they're like, hey, we could try to fall in love. I don't think we are, but we could just force and try to look at all the positives and just convince ourselves that, oh, Mendoza's a guy, or Ty Simpson or Dante Moore, or whoever the quarterback is. You can try to convince yourself that one of these guys are the guys. The good news is that Jets have 2 first-round picks in this draft, 3 first-round picks in the following one. So if they don't like one of them, they can go, no problem. We got a million needs. We suck. We're 3-9. We'll find other uses for all of these first round picks and can invest it in there. My gut says they take a quarterback in both drafts. Now, is it in the first round? That's TBD. They have the Colts pick, of course, in this upcoming draft, which is in the 20s right now. They have their own, which is 7th overall right now. But to your point, you set it up beautifully. If Fernando, Dante Moore, or any of these guys tickles their fancy, the Titans have the number 1 overall pick. The Giants have the number 2 overall pick. Both guys have their quarterbacks. They would love to raid the Jets' coffers and take all their picks to move up so the Jets could get one of these guys. So I have always felt this way. If the brass, the regime, Darren Muji, Aaron Glenn, they're like, Mendoza's guy or whoever it is, what are you talking to me for? Go make the move. This is a quarterback-driven league. If you fall in love with one of these guys, be aggressive. Go get it. That's why you have all the picks. If none of these guys are, don't force a square peg into a round hole. I'd love to take a quarterback on day 2 of the draft. The Jets have 2 second-round picks, their own, and the Cowboys. They could wait till day 3. I'd take a rookie quarterback somewhere. I've always been of that Ron Wolf, take a quarterback every year, keep swinging. What, are you going to have too many quarterbacks? That's a first world problem. Exactly. I'd love to enjoy, So, I think they take one in both, to be quite frank with you. And I think they're going to be aggressive in terms of, I agree with your going out on a limb, Justin Fields not being here. I very much doubt, even as a backup, that he would be here. So they're going to stick TNT into this quarterback room and blow it up. I think they're going to go, it could be trade. It could be a trade or signing of like a proven veteran like Kyler Murray. Those rumors have been all over the place. Yeah, Mac Jones.
People like to crap on Mac Jones. Yeah. That dude this year, 70% completion percentage, 13 touchdowns, 6 picks. He kind of figured it out. Now, I know he's in a perfect offense, but you know what? Figure it out. I mean, if a team like the Jets or someone else trades for him, well, run the same type of offense that San Francisco does, make it work, because he is not the guy that was horrible with the Patriots. That guy, he wasn't that guy this year.
Yeah. He wasn't. So again, but to your point, Mac Jones, Kyler Murray, there's a few creative options. They could trade for Jameis Winston or something. Whoever that quarterback is, I think they are going to add one, and then they're going to draft a kid. And then they may even do the Giant strategy. They brought in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. Yeah. They could insulate the quarterback room so whatever rookie they draft guaranteed does not touch the field. You lock him in a closet as your QB3, and you just try to develop, because the Jets, one of their many problems with developing quarterbacks is they force those young kids on the field too fast, and then most of the time they're not ready, and then you're just spinning your wheels. So if they tried to zig instead of zag as they normally do, making a quarterback develop from the bench would be a good place to start.
Well, Zach Wilson will be on the market next year. He's always available to bring back home.
There we go.
And he could always, Joe Flacco probably still won't retire, so you can bring him back if you wanted to. There's going to be guys out there. There's going to be guys out there. But I'm with you. Here's been my thought, because I know Miami, we're going to probably have our quarterback for at least one more year just because the contract's too tough to move. Right. Now, that doesn't mean he has to play next year, but he's going to be on the roster. So if they wanted to make a move for a quarterback this year in the draft, they can. I know next year's class is going to have more names like the Arch Mannings and some of that stuff, which he's been fantastic after the first game, honestly.
Yes.
Which is fine. But if you can get next year's draft 2027 from all the quote unquote experts is so loaded at like every position, if you can get your quarterback this year, that means next year you can just have fun picking like wide receivers and offensive tackles and edge, because that draft is so loaded. You almost don't want to waste a pick on a quarterback next year.
Right.
You want to be able to get everything else to put around the quarterback. So that's going to be interesting to see what they do to the Jets. I think if they fall in love with one of these guys, and your general manager had a pretty good draft last year for his first one. He hit on some of those picks. So if he can have another good year, maybe if he finds the right quarterback, who knows what they do. Your thoughts on the Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams trades? Were you a fan of that? Not like it? I think with Sauce, you probably loved it. Quinnen, I don't know.
Yeah,
I would love your take on that one.
Well, I would say first off, to your point, right? About a rich quarterback or a rich draft in general, and then you just need a quarterback, so you take one. We go back to 2021, Zach Wilson's draft, right? Micah Parsons, Jamar Chase, all these crazy players at other positions where Penei Sewell were all available. The Jets are like, well, we need a quarterback, and 5 other teams also said that in the first round, and we all see how that turned out. So that's a good note. I would, the Sauce Gardner trade just stunned me. I mean, it was just to not hear a name at all and to have a blockbuster name like that, and I get an alert on my phone like, get out. Like, what? 2 first-round picks? So I was just in a magical fairyland. Quinnen was less surprising because there had been some bubbling underneath the surface stuff that a lot of us Jets people had heard. Said, is something going to cook there? And it did, and it ended up going through with the Cowboys deal. I would say the return price on Quinnen was terrific. A second and a first. Mozzie Smith was whatever. He was a throw-in, and he has been a healthy scratch for the Jets, so he's a non-factor. But the draft picks and so the draft picks in general, just getting a 2 and a 1 was good return on Quinnen Williams. The fact that Darren Mucci negotiated that whatever first ends up being better between Green Bay or Dallas in 2027 is the one they get was great. I can't believe the Cowboys gave that up. That is like jaw-dropping, but great for Mucci to negotiate that in there and get it in. And then we'll see. Now, when the Jets traded Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys were spinning out of control. They had just lost the Arizona Cardinals. And you're like, man, this second-round pick is going to be like a top 50 pick. Thanks, Cowboys. Can't believe you guys just gave us that. And Quinnen has obviously had this tremendous impact on the team and is able to turn it around. So Quinnen was a really good player. It sucks to see him go, but he didn't want to be here from all the reporting that came out. He didn't want to come back. So for the Jets to be able to wash your hands, move a player that doesn't fit your timeline anymore, you get some nice draft assets. Cowboys get it. I think it's a win-win for both sides. On Sauce, it's two. I heard how you sort of phrased it, like, oh man, you got to be happy with that return. And sure, 2 firsts and Adonai Mitchell, who's coming off a 100-yard game, first of his career, first touchdown of his career, and all that is pretty exciting. It does hit the chops though, because when you have one of your guys, like he's much maligned, he gets yelled at all the time on social media by other people, but like it's almost like you can make fun of your brother, but you don't want other people making fun of your brother, so you like have to defend him. It's just in your bones. And now I feel released. I don't have to just randomly defend Sauce Gardner every 5 seconds on social media, which feels nice. But I think the ultimate thing here, as much as I love Sauce, and all the Jet fans have the Sauce Gardner jerseys in the audience and are super attached to him, he just wasn't a game changer. He just didn't create enough takeaways. While he shut down his side of the field, and that was fun and interesting, he just, and this is unfair, but this is who he was compared to, is Darrelle Revis, right? Revis shut down his side of the field, and he got picks. Sauce wasn't getting picks, so he was having balls hit him in the hands, and he wasn't changing the game. So despite him being the number 1 highest paid corner in football, which the Jets just did a handful of months before they traded him, he just wasn't making enough plays that justified the money that was being paid. So the Colts really gave the Jets a get-out-of-jail-free card. They let us reset. We got incredible value for the player, and we'll see what he ends up being. It's great that he did not blow out his Achilles with the Colts, so it sounds like he'll be back for the playoffs and maybe the end of the regular season, so good for them. But yeah, it did give the Jets a unique get-out-of-jail-free card where now they can reinvest 2 first-round picks into more premium positions outside of corner.
Yeah. So we got a game this week we should probably talk about a little bit here between the Jets and the Dolphins. Is at MetLife. I know the Jets are wearing their rivalry uniforms like we did against you guys back in September. I saw them. They're not bad. They kind of remind me a little bit of the Raiders look. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of got like a Raiders-esque look to it. Yeah. Again, something unique. Almost kind of like a theme for Batman, maybe, I would say.
Yes. Well, that's a much more pleasant than in the press release that the Jets sent out when this was announced, like what's the Jets thing going to be about, that they sort of embraced, a manhole cover and the griminess and sort of that of New York. That part I'm like, if I was running the PR department, I'm not sure that would have been in the first line, but
no, I'm not strokes. Exactly. Not
so that was weird. But again, you going, oh, Batman, Gotham. Ooh, yes, that's sexier. That's more interesting.
Like a Raiders-esque look almost.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you could definitely see it there. I would say the jerseys look fine. I'm a jersey guy, so I love that sort of thing. Again, it's a one-off or rare. We'll see how often they use these rivalry things.
Once a year
yeah.
Here's how this works, because I did a lot of research on this when it came out for all our teams' needs. They have to wear it once a year for the next 4 years. So this is year 1, and then they go away.
And then they go away. Wow. Okay. Well,
never to be seen from again.
Yeah. So I think it's cool. It's good to mix them up. Personally, and this is something Dolphins fans can Google if they have any interest. I love the New York Titans jerseys, where the Jets were before they became the Jets. 1960, 1962, the blue and gold, which is very weird because Jets are the green and white.
Yes,
I
remember
love
those.
I love those jerseys. A lot of Jet fans yell at me because I love those, but it's part of our history. So those I loved when the Jets used to wear those. I have not worn those in a long time, either the home versions or the AFL throwback versions. Both were terrific. So yeah, I love the jerseys. So great rivalry uniforms. The only challenge flag I have is okay. They're called rivalry uniforms. Okay, you wear them in a rivalry game, but we don't wear them at the same time. Wouldn't that highlight the rivalry portion of it? So that part's strange. Yeah.
Yeah, and that wouldn't even work with your team and my team because they're both black-ish. Although our team calls it a navy blue, but it's black. I held the thing up when I went to South Florida. It was black.
Yeah.
They didn't call it navy. So yeah, it's weird. Only one team wears it per game, but whatever. On this game, Miami's been running the ball like a train with Achane of late. He's already went past 1,000 yards. He's pretty much got 1,000-yard games or 100-yard games or more each week. He just was named Offensive Player of the Month in the AFC for November. I think Miami's going to lean on him. If the Jets can stop him and force Tua to beat him, that's probably their game plan. What are your thoughts on what the Jets have to do to win? And what's the Jets' offense like these days with Tyrod Taylor? Oh, you're on mute. Oh, I think we might. You're back. There you go.
Oh, okay. Weird. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Anywho,
yeah, you're back.
Yeah, I would say this: if I'm the Miami Dolphins or Devon Achane, and I just saw the recent Jets game against the Falcons, I'm looking at my chops. Bijan Robinson ran all over him. He caught the ball out of the backfield and was dynamic. Now, if you pull that one out, it's hard to because it was so egregious. But if you pull that game out, the Jets have actually fared pretty well against the run since they've traded away Quinnen Williams and made the trade with Sauce Gardner. So they've done nice in that category. Now you can look at the level of competition they're facing, but they did a pretty good job against King Henry, Derrick Henry, in the middle of all of it. So if I'm Devon Achane and the Dolphins, that's the game plan I would lean into. I would aggressively do that if I was the Dolphins and go against it. Now it'll be up to AG. AG said he's not worried about it earlier this week, that he thinks it's, relatively speaking, a blip on the radar. He hates that they gave up the yards they did against Bijan, but he thinks it's a blip on the radar. We're about to find out on Sunday if that's true. In terms of the Jets offense, it goes back to what I said before. Is Tyrod Taylor an upgrade over Justin Fields? Yes. Yes, he is. Now, it's not saying much because Justin Fields had 4 games this season where he threw under 60 passing yards throughout an entire game. So Tyrod is, averaging 200 yards a game. So it's a dramatic increase from that perspective. But also the Jets have been scoring only a handful of touchdowns each of these weeks that Tyrod Taylor has started these games. So they're not finishing in the end zone. Breece Hall has been dynamic. He's done a very good job of running the football, catching it out of the backfield. The problem is the Jets coaching staff forgets all the time that he can't catch the ball out of the backfield. So they don't give him consistent targets. It's bizarre. I don't understand what's happening there. Adonai Mitchell, again, he's coming off his first 100-yard game of his career. The first touchdown game of his career was a 52-yard touchdown from Tyrod Taylor. So Tyrod's willing to take shots, which is exciting because Adonai Mitchell has great elite separation skills. He doesn't have great catching skills, which last time I checked, that's a prerequisite for the wide receiver position normally. So we need to see on the consistency from a catching perspective. But yeah, the Jets can run the football. They've been all year a top 10 rushing offense. So Breece Hall's contributed to that. Tyrod has surprised me. He's 36 years old and he's had some nice wheels the last 2 weeks as a starter. So it's not Justin Fields level dynamic. You have to fear a 100-yard rushing game or anything crazy like that. But he has been able to get himself out of squirrely situations. So I've been pleasantly surprised by the mobility factor of Tyrod Taylor here. And then the Jets offensive line has been really solid. They're the only team in the NFL this season that has started the same 5 offensive linemen all season long. That's the first time the Jets as a franchise have accomplished that feat through the first 14 weeks of a season since 2012. So they've had unbelievable continuity for the majority of the season, and that has helped the Jets throughout this year. So, yeah, the offense, again, has been an upgrade since Justin Fields, but that's not necessarily saying much. So if the Dolphins are able to put up a lot of points, the Jets have not proven consistently and recently with Tyrod Taylor that they can match that.
Yeah, it's so weird because Miami this year, they went to Atlanta and they won like 31-6 or 34. They killed them. They blew them out. They destroyed them. Then they come home on a short week, home versus the Ravens. They get annihilated. It doesn't even look like the same team that played on Sunday before. Short week, they're at home, annihilated. Then they play home against the Bills. The best game they've played in 3 or probably at least 3 seasons. We never beat the Bills. We've lost 15-16 versus the Bills. They kicked their ass for 4 quarters. It wasn't even competitive. I'm like, holy crap. Okay, maybe something. And then our next 2 games, Washington game in Spain, they were lucky to win. They played just sloppy football. Last week versus the Saints, Chris Olave, he had a chance to win the game at the end, dropped a touchdown. Like, I don't know what you get week to week from Miami. If it's a team that played the Bills, which seems to be the exception, not the norm, no one beat that team in the league. They were unbelievable that day. But most weeks, it's like Tyler Shuck last week. In the first half, couldn't throw a pass. He looked inept. The second half, he's sitting back there like Joe Montana, just bing, ding, ding, ding. It's like from half to half, you don't know what team you get from Miami on offense or defense. So I don't know I would love to tell you, I think Miami's going to go in there and win. Or I'd love to tell you, I think this is a great chance for the Jets to come with. I don't know, because I don't know what Miami team's going to show up. Because literally, week to week, you don't know. One thing I do know is our quarterback can't move anymore. He couldn't move before. He is a cigar shop in India now. He's a sitting duck back there. He can't move. The passing game, if you take away Waddle, Waller at tight end's been very good this year, but he's about it as a threat in the passing game. It really is Achane. We run Achane, we throw it to Achane, we run Achane some more, we throw it to Achane. And when we really want to run Achane, we put a 6 offensive lineman on the field just because, and we really run it down your throat at times. And that seems to have sparked the offense. But make no mistake, it's a run-first offense these days with Hill gone and hurt and obviously out. The passing game just isn't really there. So if you start watching this game Sunday and he's throwing the ball on you, you know you're in for a long day. Because if we can complete passes, the running game will be there. If Miami can't throw the ball, I think then this game will come down to like a field goal either way.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm ready for a barn burner, Mike. I'm ready for a barn burner.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Again, thank you once again, Paul, for joining us. Everyone follow Boyd Green on Twitter, Instagram at BoydGreen25. Check him out on Twitter. He with the man-child with Boyd Green Show, and he has his own YouTube channel, I believe, too. Just search for Boyd Green25. Always fun, Paul. We will do this again, I'm sure, in the future. Stay warm, because I know you're not far from me, and it is freezing outside.
That it is. It is freezing. There's a lot of snow, and I hope that one of these times that we do this before I'm dead, Mike.
We got to do it together live. Yeah.
Well, that too. Obviously, we live so close to it together. We have to do that, but also that we're doing it under better circumstances. We're talking about playoff seeding. We're talking about where do we stand in the AFC East? No, it sucks. The current position we're in.
We have a Sunday game where like the outcome really matters. Like right now, it's like who's going to pick higher. If you lose, you might be in a better spot. Actually,
right? Right. It's terrible. So I'm hoping eventually when we do one of these that it is those better circumstances, which would be great. So hopefully we could get there one day.
Absolutely, everyone. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you again after a while.